I want to hurt you.
Or hurt our relationship.
Or, yes, exactly. Or hurt the relationship. You may not have heard it because she's talking in a sexy voice, you know, trying to, you know, holler at your boy because, you know, I guess I'm saying something good, but
it's the shirt.
It's the, why are you whispering? It's live. It's like if I just
stop.
I just said something so dope. We gotta have fun.
I know, but you were being bad.
Why are you whispering? I did not just check her.
Because I'm talking to you.
I'm a freeze frame Facebook. I'm gonna come back on. She gonna be sitting there, her glasses gonna be crooked and stuff. She gonna say, I'm ready to talk up. I'm tucking up. Learning how to be whole by yourself,
right.
Not needing someone else to make you whole, because it's not one half, you know, she completes me, all that. It sounds nice, but it should be two wholes coming together.
That's right.
And learning to love yourself is super important. If you ask Ike, would he rather have love or happiness? Ike would say love, because he loved her when he beat her. But if you ask Tina, would she rather have love or happiness? Tina would have said, I'd rather be happy that he's not whipping me up and down the street in the name of love.
Oh my.
They're asking, hey, I feel connected to Romeo because Romeo rocked my world. Okay, Romeo did some stuff. He put his hard hat on. And Romeo worked.
But you married somebody.
But what are those things that make a woman feel like, hey, shut up, what's your problem? I'm already doing it.
Well, let's do this. Instead of talking about that, what
she just kicked my stuff to the curb. You
no,
catch that? Well, instead of that, like, and ain't above fist fighting Facebook Live. I want you to understand that. She could beat me in a fair fight. Ask me how I know. No, I'm just kidding.
I love being in love. I love being married. I love this. I love.
It ain't that kind of video, but it could be.
So I understand the foundation of our love, our commitment, our covenant, our marriage is Jesus Christ.
Praise the Lord, we're in. All right. Hey, we're excited. Love and Happiness Live. We was trying to get out of the green room, and now we successfully made it.
Yep.
We are thrilled because we're going to talk about some cool stuff that will absolutely just inspire you to do more with your relationship. The topic today is called The Pursuit of Happiness. So I can actually show that on the screen like that. That's pretty cool. The Pursuit of Happiness. I'm Dr. Vandy. This is
Barbara.
All right. My lovely wife
Happy
and I
Saturday.
are sharing some great relationship, inspirational thoughts today. And the Pursuit of Happiness, the context actually came as a discovery for us yesterday or the day before, as we were getting ready to be kid-free for the weekend. And we're kid-free right now, and we don't know what to do with ourselves. so we realized that we've been like in the press, in the wine press, the press of pursuing purpose and figuring out ways to, you know, generate success and things in our relationship. Is tied to expenses. You know, we got a family to feed, right? And so we were realizing we were working way harder than we should have on stuff and not as much on making time for each other.
But that's common in a lot of relationships where the pursuit, people are pursuing careers and jobs and education, and they have a family, and they get so caught up with the everyday routine of work, traffic. If you live in a popular city like, you know, Orlando or Atlanta or Chicago or wherever, different, you know, cities, big cities where traffic will, you know, 45 minutes of traffic to get to work and back, and just, you know, projects at work and school, adult education, where you forget about being in love. You forget about the pursuit of happiness within your relationship. It's common.
It's a real thing. We were like discovering, at least I was realizing, like, we're not only making time to date each other, we wasn't making time to discover our city. You know, we've been living here in Orlando area for
4.5 years.
Yeah, going
5
on
years
5
in
years.
August.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we honestly didn't have time to we haven't been making time just to love each other and enjoy finding nice little spots, things to do outside of the basic, bowling, miniature golf, that kind of stuff.
Well, we love tennis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can get just so, like I said, busy in just the everyday life, you know, working, you know, 10 to 12 hours and then adult education, going back to get your master's degree, your doctorate, or whatever. You're studying and you have the kids taking them to soccer practice, basketball, cheerleading, or whatever. And you just forget you're pursuing so many different things. You don't pursue you. You don't pursue your mate. You don't pursue the things that, you know, connect you and gel you. So that's so very, very important.
So what was weird though, and I don't know if you watch and ever dealt with this, but I get the sense that people will understand this, is when you purpose in your heart to say, let's just date and let's just kind of put all of the stresses aside, that it's not as easy as let's just date and put all the stresses aside. A lot of times it's like we're trying to put the stresses aside, and then 5 minutes into the date, you know, we're bringing it up. One of us is bringing up some of the dynamics of the day instead of how are you,
or things we have to remember to do. Hey, don't forget to do so and so. Oh, shoot that email for me. Or so while you're on the date, you're really still you're physically there on the date, but mentally you are back at the office. You're back at, you know, your calendar, planning his or her calendar. What I do something on Tuesday. Oh, we're next Thursday. And so and
it steals the air, the oxygen,
the joy
out of just trying to say let's date. You know, because I had a moment when, you know, we dropped our daughter off and I'm like, good, it's time to date. And my wife was still in mommy mode. And I'm like, the baby in me was like trying to work through. I'm feeling like this is supposed to be our time. Now we purposed this our time. And now I'm looking at her like she's a thief in the night, a robber, robbing me of my time.
Because it's so easy if you don't purpose while you're with your mate. You know, okay, this is us time. No kids, no work, no this, no tasks. It's just us. What about, it's just VMB. What are we going to talk about? That's it. It's just us. How we going to be better to us? How are we going to, what are you doing? How are you really feeling? And just purpose, you know, before the date happens, here's the do's, here's the don'ts.
No, but that's not being, hold on. Let's just, make sure it's reality TV. Like we keep it real.
Keep it real.
Because the real is, I outlined all that. I kept saying, let's leave the kids out. Let's this out. Let's not, you know, it's supposed to be all time. I'm saying that. And it still was hard. And I'll give it to you that way. That it must have been hard for you to just switch off that gear and just be my girlfriend again. But it's not hard for guys as it is women. Yo, it's easy.
I kind of remember you definitely said that. We both we established that. We got in the car after she got in the car. But I remember it a little differently. I remember you bringing up something that was kind of in the, I'm like, well, didn't you say
no, I'm guilty too. I apologize if you think
you opened the door.
If you think I'm throwing the rock and hiding my hand, I'm guilty too.
You were the gateway that led us into that. Anyway,
I don't know.
So, but
I plead the fifth on that. I don't know if I agree, but I'll say we both find it challenging. Is that fair?
It is, because if you're spending like your day-to-day 8 to 10 hours in that mommy, daddy mode, or businesswoman, businessman mode, or whatever, you know, business mode, it's hard the 3 or 4 hours you got to be in chill time to really chill time. Because it's like, oh, remember, we're going to go, we have our conference. Oh, remember we have that webinar. Remember we have that. And that's so it's a behavior. It's a learned behavior. We taught ourselves, like, it's crazy. In the beginning, like 22 years ago, it was, even though I had my business, you had a business, we were career-minded people, because we were in the pursuit of finding each other, in the pursuit of happiness. I told you, I'm dating for a purpose. I'm too old for a boyfriend. I'm 29 years old. I'm looking for a husband. So you were on an interview. So I was purposely.
Well, don't be acting like you wasn't on
I told you that.
You was on an interview too. Don't act like that. Don't do that.
And you said the same thing too.
Don't do that.
Anyway, so what happened was, we were on a mission as single people to pursuing happiness. So on purpose, I wasn't talking to you about my job, my career, my this, but I would mention it, but it was all about VNB when we're together.
I would take that. I would take that and I'll raise the stakes higher.
Okay.
By saying something I said to you in the very beginning as well. I said when we first got together and where everything is light and enjoyable, and then it gets stressful in like into that first year of marriage, 2 years. And you was like, why? I said, because you now have more.
Yeah.
You know, when you have more weight in your life, when you have more substance, does anybody understand what I'm saying? Where it's like, if your life as a teenager is different than your life as a 20-year-old, your life as a 30-year-old, and if you are in grace to be in your 40s and 50s, then the weight is more significant because now you really think about the planning and the every step and every strategic move. So the weight becomes more. The responsibility to figure things out become more pressing than when you are 20 years old and you can just, kind of bounce around and not know yourself. So I pointed that out in the early stage of our marriage to say it's because it's more weight. And you did. And that makes it more like kind of like, easier to kind of get distracted and all of that. And that's why we were real intentional, which was really one of the points that I wanted to talk about. Is in order to really kind of pursue happiness, you gotta first, in my estimation, be intentional about happiness.
I agree.
Because every time, even in yesterday, when we're being intentional about happiness, I'm looking up and I'm like, wait, we were aiming for this. This was the objective. The goal was we're gonna find stuff in our backyard that's not expensive, but fun. Experiences. We were going after experiences, and we were being intentional to say, okay, now let's be intentional. Let's find, now we happen to be blessed to be in a city that has like
everything,
a trillion different experiences.
Right.
But even when we were in Philadelphia, Atlanta, other places, we would be intentional. Okay, let's go to the Martin Luther King Museum. Let's do the, and in Philadelphia, let's do the buggy ride you did. You know what I mean? It's like being intentional is, to me, the difference in someone being able to hit the mark. Right. Because they're aiming for it. I always say if you're not aiming for it, you can't hit it.
No, absolutely. You have to be intentional. Just to make that other person feel special, make that person feel number one. That the very thing that drew you to your spouse in the very beginning is that same thing you need to keep, fueling the fire with. Even though, you did say the higher you go up, the higher you go up, it's more stress and the less oxygen altitude or whatever. But it's so very true that, when we're together, okay, it's all about you in that moment. I'm going to live in the moment, not living in what I got to do in 10 minutes or whatever after this moment is over, to make you feel 100% special. Like I'm 100% into you in that moment because we are into each other. But,
but it don't feel like it if you're distracted. And that's why I just think that it was important to kind of even using ourselves, because when we hang this up in a few minutes, we're on the pursuit of more happiness because, the kids are still gone until this evening. At least Paris is, Bethany's on campus. And the goal is to discover something else that we can, a new experience that doesn't cost much. I think yesterday, we found this kind of, it was almost sketchy, like divey.
But it was so good.
It was.
Guess what though? Divey is good. Because remember, goody in North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, we were when I was running the satellite campus, we would have to go to North Carolina College every year, and we found this divey, looked like a small, almost crack house kind of breakfast place.
But the line
was out the corner.
Deep. It was crazy.
And the New Yorker in me thought they were selling crack because it was divey and sketchy. And I'm like, that little looked like it holds 9 people closet. And they're lining up around the corner. I was like,
they should be on diners, driveways, and dives, because that show.
And it was called Goody. And it was really, really amazing. It was like going back into an old Maud, one of those old TV shows where they got the, flow in the diner,
They don't have credit cards, cash only.
Yeah, right.
But 50 people deep outside waiting to get in line. It's crazy. But that was like type of place we went yesterday where it's like,
it was kind of sketchy.
Here, but it was so amazing.
Yeah. Thank God for Yelp. because Yelp was like, oh, it's amazing. I was like, okay.
I know, right?
It looks sketchy though. There's too many Yelps to make this look like fake.
Well, it was just what we went. It was so delicious.
Yeah,
it was
really
like,
good.
oh my God.
Had some great shrimp and everything. And so we're gonna find today some more sketchy stuff. You had some observations that I think we should unpack, which you were talking about how or what can get in the way, I think.
Well, actually,
of the pursuit of happiness.
But letting go could actually get in the way if you don't let go of what your spouse did or the expectations you had that didn't happen, or your disappointments. Letting go is the first step to me in the one of the steps in the pursuit of happiness. You can't think about what your mate did to do 8 months, 24 seconds, and 32 days ago. No, let it go. If you forgave him or you forgave her, you've got to let it go in order to pursue the pursuit of happiness. You can't, fake it, and go, I'm happy. No, I'm not. I'm still thinking about what you did to me 8 months ago, or
And letting go is easier said than done when you feel the person hasn't decided to kind of accept responsibility for what they're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy to say to someone who had something stolen 2 years ago to let it go. It's hard to tell somebody who's getting stolen from every single day, and then they happen to step outside and you say you should let it go. They're like, you don't understand. Right now they're probably still doing it.
So trauma.
Yeah. So if it's ongoing, I think it becomes kind of hard for people to really say, you know what, we're gonna let that go. We're gonna be able to do that. I'm just trying to fix this. So those of you who say anything, I can see you now. I can see you. And do us a favor and hey to Regina Hayes and Lewis. And those of you watching, do us a favor and share so we can just, really just expand and allow those who are interested in real relationship talk to just be blessed, and be able to enjoy it, So you also had something else about what you wanted to outline as staying connected. You've got to stay connected as far as not to allow yourself to be lonely, in your relationship, because there's such thing as being lonely in a crowded space. And sometimes in the pursuit of happiness, we can get so caught up on our issues that we actually isolate ourselves within the relationship. So staying connected is also something that you're going to have to be, deliberate about, because a lot of people in your relationship, in their relationships, they're not connected to their mate. They've been married, 10 years, 30 years, 40 years, and they're not really connected. They're roommates. 2 years. They're roommates and they're not really lovers or best friends. So staying connected, not isolating yourself within, I think is. I just want to, in respect to some of the pieces, I'll say this to Regina, who made a great observation about some challenges that she's dealing with in her pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely.
The bullet points are that she's of the heart, that she's doing a whole lot of the work in the relationship. And I'm going to say a piece that may also just help from a male perspective, but I'm not going to say it till I let my wife respond. From she's doing a lot to make things work in the relationship, the cleaning, the cooking, and so forth. And she isn't really running around or anything like that out and about. But her concern is that her mate or husband is always on the move. And he is kind of not including her with his movement. So she's feeling left out and she's not feeling like a priority. And I'm going to leave the other parts there on the chat because, I don't want to.
Right.
Yeah. So when somebody's dealing with that,
I just think that the next point was get involved. So I think that you need to talk to your spouse, let them know, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I think we need to both, support each other psychologically, emotionally, and get involved with some of the day-to-day things. So that would, for an example, when you're very, very busy. I mean, you work 10, 12 hours a day, and I respect that.
On a good week.
Yeah, sometimes
I did have a 22-hour straight
all the time.
grind record. I never did 22 straight hours.
But getting involved, I remember when I was at the hospital, working at the hospital, I was dealing with a very difficult season at the hospital. And so all my daily chores, like, tasks, whatever, taking the kids to school, running the different practices and all that kind of stuff, basketball, cheerleading, whatever. I was so emotionally drained. Of course, I didn't want you couldn't go to the hospital and do my shifts or my hours, but you got involved and you took my responsibilities off me. So, because physically, I just couldn't do them, but emotionally, I was so drained from the path I was on at the hospital. You got involved and you helped me. You saw a need. You saw that you filled the gap in when I could not just be in two places. And emotionally, you filled that gap in. I couldn't be there for the kids, so you took off the plate, and you helped me. You helped me. You jumped in. You took the kids to school. You was doing things.
Yeah, and what I want to do is, you said something that I thought is great. You alluded to it, that I think with regards to Regina's comment, that I'll also give the opposite I have. But when you're talking about the things that I brought to your attention, it was because it was a blind spot on your end. And what I was going to first point out with regards to Regina's comment is, and it's her fiance, is, and this is a really important time if you're engaged, Regina, to resolve what you see, because typically people are on their best presentation and behavior when you're not married. So once it's on the other side of I do, it's like a lot of people in the job interview is like, and I'll be on time. I'm conscientious.
I'll do overtime.
I'm a team player, right? And then once they get the job, they're like, you need me? You can't call Rob. Like, I'm always doing overtime. You know what I'm saying? So there is an opportunity, I believe, when you understand that, we're not married yet. This is someone who I gave my heart to, and he's confessed his love to me. Understand that if, in fact, he has love for you and he's leaving you out, it may be attributed to some issues of frustration that's unresolved. And sometimes when people don't know how to deal with it, they just want to separate and just be in another space. But they love you, so they keep coming back home to you. And you're like, yeah, but we're not happy. And that's why this is called Love and Happiness, because so many people are in love and not happy. I would say if it's a blind spot, first, since I don't know, it might not be a blind spot. He might be straight saying, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to assume. Let's assume it's a blind spot. Use positive words like, I would love it if. I would love it if when you go out, I would love it if I could go with you. I would love it if we could spend time together. If you use the positive words, there's an acronym ABA, which is anything but anger. Because the minute it gets hot, then the main point gets lost. So try not to let the anger on your frustration boil into words that come across in an angry way, or in a way that's like, too hot, where all of a sudden it's like now you're busy focusing on, well, I don't like how you said it, instead of what's important. And if it's a blind spot, I'll give you a tip. And this was something that we navigated in the beginning. The worst place that a woman can get advice about a man is from another woman. The worst place. The worst place a woman gets advice is from
your mother.
Well, your mother. She might have some wisdom. She might know something. But when I say the worst place, what I mean is when you see a woman's magazine say these are the 10, this is the #1 way to keep your man. Cook a meal.
No, it's not.
And the way to a man's heart is his stomach. That's a lie from the pit. It's not. The way to a man's heart is for him to believe that you respect him, that you will honor him, that you are available to him. Your best ability is availability. That if he feels like I can call on you for my needs, and you're present and willing to say, hey, I'm here for you, that is way better than if you make the most amazing macaroni and cheese in the world.
Or apple pie.
Or apple pie.
Absolutely.
Your pie could be amazing, but he'll eat the pie and he'll still get in the car. And,
right. And
the
mother thing was a joke because my mother was weird in the beginning.
See, I can't talk about a mother. If I ain't saying nothing. Your mother was an angel. How dare you say anything about your mother? Your mother, I rebuke that. That is not appropriate. what we're really trying to, in the pocket of this at least opening conversation of the pursuit of happiness, is really understanding that if we just sidebar the challenges for a second and make the goal and objective to say, you know, what can we do today to just bring some air into the moment, into the season, you know, because the pandemic has squeezed so much. It's like when folk are drunk, they tell you what they're really thinking. And the pandemic has put people so close and they're dealing with so many stresses that the feelings are coming out, not necessarily the facts, you know, but but feelings become our reality. So many times people are like caught up in the feelings and it's all frustrated. It's weird. It's a spaghetti mess. It's hard to untangle. So what I would say is, you done got all this bad credit in the relationship. It's not going to go away. If you file bankruptcy and throw the relationship away and quit, okay, you know, now you're starting all over. And it's kind of like, you know, you're carrying these unresolved issues into the next season that you got to work through. So I would say, look at it like credit repair, where one of the key things you would do is you just got to get some positive things happening
and be consistent.
And then be consistent making the payments into that account. So if you guys decide, you know what, you know, if you use the I love it ifs, because it works. If you say, you know, I would love it if, the key thing is only use I would love it if when you are expressing a desire. Don't use the I would love it ifs if you're talking about the past. You know, I would love it if you would start doing what you supposed to do, because then I would love it if they didn't hear I love it if, they only hear you talking about yesterday when it was finger pointing. Right. So you want to make sure you use I would love it if in a positive way that would absolutely inspire them to say, you know what? Okay, you know, where you're just saying, I would love it if I could spend more time with you. You don't have to point out you always leave without me. Right. Because now you again making it adversarial. But if you say, I would love it if tomorrow we could go out together, then you get tomorrow. And then while you're out and you're enjoying it, you know, I would love it if we could do this more often. And Matt, you follow what I'm saying?
And Matt, jump in, because it's important in the pursuit of happiness. It's about, you know, you being happy with your spouse, your mate, but also you being happy with yourself. So on a calendar, it's like, okay, here's our date time. We're dating on purpose this time. You do need me time. You do need separate time when you go out and you have to be an individual person, because sometimes you can get so caught up with your spate. You know, at one point, I wasn't even Barbara no more. I was wife, mommy, businesswoman, boss, this, that. And I was being everything to everybody. I forgot to pursue my own joy, my own happiness. So we do have a lot of loving time for each other. We go out, we do things.
Not enough, right? Because that's why today we're adding back, because and I think it is seasonal. And I think you touched it, and I want to build on that, because the fantasy, and the reason that I said something earlier about reality TV is the thought in my head is that a lot of people have this image of what the relationship is supposed to look like, and usually that image is built on movies and TVs and the fact that you just see other couples not dealing with what you deal with behind the scenes, when most couples are dealing with a lot of the same challenges of, you know, juggling the kids, the schedule, the money, the life, the whatever it is that you know, if you have something, it's working to maintain it. You know, all of those things are on the table. So the reality TV side is more of not the drama reality Flavor Flav stuff, but the reality of let's create our own kind of happy ever after, understanding we have some moving parts. So in our particular case, there's not much we can do about in this particular season. We just don't have a lot of us time. But what we're doing now is being intentional about happiness, which is why today we're taking, you know, about 6 hours. So it's not like you have to take a whole weekend to be intentional about happiness. You know, yesterday we did like 5 hours. It was like from or less. It was like 4.5, because we dropped Paris off like 4:30-ish. And it felt like we had a whole day. It did. It was completely full. We went and just first drove around looking at really cool stuff. Then after we drove around, then we ended up watching a movie. No, we went to the in the hotel. Now this is a little tip. And if in a different world, if I could like, you know, like do a movie, I would have a scene where there'd be a homeless guy who never goes hungry because he just goes into hotels and, you know, and just nibbles on the condiments. He doesn't look homeless. Now, he can't go in all sketchy, but he just walks in, gets his little nibble on, like as if he had a room and little, you know, continental breakfast. So he got breakfast. But, you know, what we realize in the hotels are really cool restaurants.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hotels are so beautiful, just walking around them will make you feel like you're on vacation. Yeah. Because we was walking around, you know, the Hard Rock hotel in Orlando. We was like, look at the balcony we're standing on. It felt like we could have said we were in
Barbados or Aruba somewhere. It was gorgeous.
And it was like, boy, it's the same thing. I felt like I could have saved a lot of money going to Aruba and all these places because it felt the same. It's like the only difference was we could get in the car and go back home. Yeah. You know, so I think if you're really intentional about checking for what makes you happy, and then making the time without thinking extreme, we got to do 10 days and we got to do, I think it could be really cool. Right. I did want to, you can respond. I'm going to read that because I'm going to handle the reading part. So you can build on our today plans. Like y'all can give us some suggestions. I'm going to check what Regina is saying in a second. I absolutely say hello to Lola. Listen, tell us some fun things you think we could do. We know bowling. We know
we love tennis.
We know, we do that already. We
in the morning time.
You know, we just think of something that you would say, you know, would be really cool. Is, you know, I mean, we're not going to ride a horse today, but horseback riding would have been fun. Right. Yeah, that would have been fun.
But one of the things we do like to do.
Give us some suggestions. Right. I'm just going to read this. Okay. And so you talk amongst yourselves.
Ride a bike. Yeah. Well, before we got into our really, really busy season and it got a little chilly, we would go play tennis every morning at around 8:30. And we loved doing that. Absolutely loved it. Also riding bikes. We love riding our bikes together in development. That's something that brings us joy. And, you know, it doesn't cost any money and it's just fun fellowship and it's just us and just things like that. We're very competitive. So we love playing board games. We love playing Uno together, just things. Driving to the beach, walking around. It's kind of chilly, a little nippy here in Central Florida. I know my sisters are like, oh, be quiet. Right now, we're experiencing a blizzard. It's like 25 degrees. At least you have your 63 or 65 and whatever. But it's just pursuing things. When I said get involved, my husband, he would just get involved with different things when I couldn't. Yeah. Emotionally, you saw where I was. You came and you rescued me. So also in the pursuit of happiness, you can get involved emotionally to help your spouse or your mate do some of their task or whatever. Yeah. So
I'm just trying to figure out some fun stuff for the day.
Oh, for the day.
But before we pivot, you know, the relational things. One of the things that's pretty cool is those of you who are really interested, especially for Valentine's Day, where you want to be able to feel more hopeful, like, hey, things are moving in the right direction kind of thing, is to register for our Let's Stay Together virtual couples retreat. Now, what you're going to get in that is actual tools that you can build a better relationship with. There are tools that I use in my counseling practice and for couples counseling that is really, really, really going to help. I mean, you're actually going to get for next to nothing what other people are paying quite a bit for in sessions. So we really, really want you to take advantage of the way we do our retreats. If you can ever, when the world starts spinning again, come to an actual physical retreat. That is, you're going to have an amazing time. And there's information about that on our website, Love and Happiness. But the virtual couples retreat, it's going to be just awesome for those of you who just want to go from good to great or from bad to better, you know, that kind of thing. So definitely, I put a pin on that to say to Regina, that's something that is a really low cost. You're getting like hundreds of dollars worth of tools for real at right now $29 until Wednesday, I think, is when the offer goes to full price, $49. Right. And it's on February 11th. I should say the date. And also, if you miss it, because it's February 11th at 7 p.m., you'll automatically get an auto replay that'll be emailed to you an hour after it ends. So you don't have to even worry if you miss it. You can't miss it. Right. Yeah, there's that.
That's very, very convenient. Yes.
So we're trying to figure it out. I don't know if anybody gave us suggestions or if any of you had any suggestions. We would certainly love to see, hey, Reverend McMillan, we would love to see.
We actually have on our website dating tips and different things, ideas. If you don't have any suggestions, we look on our website.
Yeah, but we're gonna just drive. We're gonna start with a drive today. Okay. Just driving and seeing which way the wind blows. That's because
kid free.
Yeah, we're just gonna be in discovery mode. We're like, you know, just landing on Plymouth Rock type stuff, and we're just gonna see what's in the land. And hopefully we'll find something really fun. There's so many different fun things, but one of the fun things for me is while I love the nice expensive trips. I love Rome, Greece, Brazil, all those trips. I love. But I love finding little diamonds for like a $40 day.
Oh yeah,
now, which is really what yesterday.
But we did a $10 date. We had this thing years ago.
Which is challenging now. Yeah, $10 is, you know, you get your blow pop and a bag of chips, but one bag of chips is like $4 now. But real talk.
But no, if you want to be really creative, you can still try to do a $10 date.
Okay, but before we go, why don't you explain the $10 date?
The $10 date,
which is probably now 25 in my mind. But go ahead.
Okay, well,
inflation. But when we first got together, $10.
We were so on a budget. We had to do a $10 date. So we did it twice a month. You had to be creative for the date. I had to be creative with the date.
You had one, I had one.
Right. And so went to the supermarket. Okay, got some lunch meat, some bread, whatever. Made sandwiches and some chips. Put it in my little, you know, cute little basket and whatever, and some fruit, some grapes, and some cheese. Boom. We drove to the park. Got my blanket. Brought our music, you know, with us, and we're laying in the park, you know, on our blanket, eating, feeding each other, just talking. Yeah. That's a day.
And one of mine's was coupons. So I found a coupon where you buy one appetizer, get one appetizer free. We went to a nice restaurant. We had a nice environment, nice ambience, and then dropped the coupon and say, we're just doing appetizer. And I'll have water.
And we share probably.
No, it's buy one get one free.
Okay.
I did have some like
share,
cheap stuff, but the buy one get one frees was the dope ones because then you can go and we'll just buy one appetizer get one free. You know, I don't see much of those these days. It's like buy your meal get an appetizer, but you're gonna have to get creative in this period of inflation. Yeah, is basically the key. But there is. I mean, you can just drive to the beach and walk and for free, and that's $10 of gas if you live far away. And just walk there and then get a slice of pizza and, you know what I mean, or whatever your thing is, a salad. And there you go. So it is plenty of ways. And if it's cold, just figure out what you like to do in the cold. You know, there's free stuff. You know, air is free. Go to the park and sit down, take a long walk by some water if that's your love language like mine. So yeah.
If you don't have a bicycle, rent bicycles. You can rent skateboards, rent those little things, and just drive around the park or whatever. Yeah, and just discover your city, actually.
Yeah. So all right. So listen, we are out because it's time for us to do our thing, and we are really like hoping and praying that we give you some insight on the mind. When I was saying to, I believe it was Regina, that the worst person to listen to about a man, what I meant to say that I didn't finish was ask him to tell you what's important to him. You know, because he's the source that should be telling you how he hears happiness. And if you're like, okay, you know what, I'm cooking, I'm doing all this, and you seem like an ingrate, he may be one, or he may simply not hear love the way you say it. And while you're giving him that meal and working in the kitchen, and you're like, don't you see all of this? He's like, yeah, I do, but that's not how he hears love. So you may start with a conversation that just really you'll get the best of his thinking if you start with simply, you know what, I want to love you better. So I need you to tell me how you hear love. Because do you feel love when I'm cooking for you? Do you feel love when I'm, you know, understanding
the love languages?
How do you? I don't want to reduce it to just those. But I'm saying, ask him to give you his custom version of how do you hear love.
That's good.
Because he may hear love in multiple ways. And the reason I didn't want to reduce it to the 5 love languages, while they are powerful generalizations, the first observation I had when we started teaching this to couples was, most people are probably bilingual. And if I have two different love languages operating in me, and you try to tell me you must be this one, you're going to already kind of fail at your attempt to speak their language.
Sometimes they change.
Because some people speak great Spanish and other people speak Spanglish. And if you're speaking Spanglish to somebody who's all Spanish, they're going to be like, I don't even understand you. So if you ask him, you know, hey, how do you hear love? I want to love you better. If you lead with that, oh, he'll tell you, you know, but you know, just when if he comes from his issues and he's saying things kind of sharp and negative, like, oh, now you want to know how I hear it. I really want us to stay healthy. I understand there's obviously some frustration. I'm looking at trying to see if we can make it better. And if you just, you know, keep focusing on the hopeful, better side versus feeding into his, you know, if he had a response less than happy, that's going to kind of position you to keep it to make the main thing the main thing. You know, one of the things that we talk about a lot when we're doing our couples retreats and couples things is how often and easy it is to fall into the wrong conversation where you're not really talking about the main thing, and the main thing gets lost. You really just wanted to talk about, I want to hear your heart better. He triggers something in you, you trigger something. Next thing you know, you're like, now doors are slamming, you stop talking. Right. And the main thing got lost. The main thing got left on the couch, naked, no clothes on, saying, when are we going to finally, you know, put something on me? So try to focus on the main thing, which is you saying, I want to love you better. I want to hear love. I want to understand how you hear love. If he says a few cross negative things, just say, well, can we keep it positive? Because I really don't want us to go into a wrong place. And if hopefully his heart is there to say, yeah, let's do that, you know, and I think that'll kind of get you started on where you need to be. So to May and Regina, to Lauricia, and all the rest of you all, we're so glad that you are connecting with us. Follow us. Take advantage of the couples retreat.
Yes.
Real low prices because you're going to get a lot of value and you're going to have fun. And we look forward to seeing you next Saturday. So if you haven't followed us on Facebook and YouTube, the Love and Happiness TV, right? Yep, and IG, please do that. And of course, if you know or are an influencer or an interesting couple, or you got some interesting things about relationship, we're going to start in about 4 or 5 weeks after Valentine's Day. We're going to start doing bringing people on with us. Yes. You know, and you know, we can bring a lot of you on right from your phone. We can bring you on from different places. You know, you don't even have to do nothing more than click the link we give you, and it'll be cool. And we can just talk about real relationship talk and see how much fun we can have. And try to keep Facebook from banning us if somebody gets crazy. So, all right, we're good. Yep. Anything you want to say before we go? No. We're good. Say goodbye. Just live on purpose and have a great day. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.